Many years ago, I went to the theater to watch a movie. I don't even remember the name of the movie, but the theater was pretty much full and I couldn't sit with my friends. So we decided to find whatever seat we could. I saw an empty seat in the very left corner in the second row from the back. The view would have been horrible from that angle, but something is better than nothing. So I hopped over people's legs and got to the seat at the very end of the row. As soon as I got there, I saw the woman sitting in the seat behind mine have her left leg on the chair. She was wearing an open-toe sandal with a medium-sized heel. Even in the dark, I was able to see the nail polish on her toes. I said to her, "Excuse me." "Oh, sorry," she said and slowly pulled her leg back. She seemed to have some trouble pulling her leg away. I sat on the seat and started watching the movie. It was a terrible view of the screen. After just a couple of minutes, she leaned forward to my left side and whispered in my left ear, "Excuse me, I feel really embarrassed saying this, but my left leg is in a lot of pain, and if I don't stretch it out a bit, and it really starts to hurt. Would you mind if I put my leg on your shoulder?" That was such a weird request, but just the thought of having her sandal close to my face got me excited. I turned back and whispered, "Sure, no problem." But before turning my head back, I decided to be funny and whispered to her again, "But only if you massage my face with your sandal." And I smiled. Apparently, she couldn't see me smile in the dark. She leaned forward and whispered, "Oh, do you want me to?" Before I could say no, she whispered again, "Sure, it's no problem really," and leaned back on her seat and lifted her leg. I turned my head back and stared at the screen slowly, not knowing what to expect. Within a few seconds, with the corner of my left eye, I saw her sandal landing on my left shoulder. Since I was in the very left seat of the row, no one could really see her leg on my shoulder. Plus, everyone was trying to watch the movie. Then she moved her shoe towards my head, slowly extended her leg out a little bit, and started rubbing the side of her sandal on my ear. I think she quickly realized it was my ear as she stretched her leg a little more so her shoe can reach my face, and then slowly started massaging my cheek with her shoe. I sat quietly in shock without making any movement. She slowly moved her sandal up and down on my cheek. After a few minutes, she bent her leg a little bit and turned her sandal sideways so that the bottom of her sandal can face me. She slowly placed her sandal on my cheek and started rubbing it again. With the sole of her sandal, she could cover more area on my face. Her heel ended up on the side of my head, but I didn't complain about this slight discomfort and slowly enjoyed the shoe massage. Another few minutes went by and suddenly she moved her shoe away from my face, leaned forward and whispered in my ear, "I am sorry, with my shoe I can't even tell if I am actually getting to your face. I can't feel your face under my shoe, so I can't really tell if it's your face or neck or head." What a weird woman. Not for a second did she think that it's weird putting your shoes on someone's face. I said to her, No, you're totally getting my face. It feels nice." "Oh, good," she whispered and brought her shoe back on my face and continued to massage my cheek with the bottom of her shoe. After a few minutes, I had this urge to feel her sandal on my mouth. So as she was massaging my face with her shoe, I turned my head left and towards her. As soon as I did that, the bottom of her sandal ended up on my mouth. Her heel was on my cheek and the sole of her shoe covered my mouth. As I looked towards her, I realized I could see her face because my eyes had gotten used to the dark in the theater. And I quick realized that if I could see her face, she was able to see my face. So anyways, with her shoe now on my mouth, I slowly whispered to her, "By the way, are you comfortable?" She stopped rubbing her shoe on my face and leaned forward a bit and whispered, "Yeah, I am totally comfortable. Thank you for letting me put my leg up." Her shoe was still on my mouth, even though she wasn't rubbing it. And before I could turn back, she whispered again, "Wait, is my shoe on your mouth?" I slowly nodded. "You," she whispered and smiled. I could see the smile on her face. She pushed her leg forward a little bit and put pressure on her shoe. With the weight of her shoe on my mouth, I couldn't turn back my head. With that much weight applied on her sandal, she started massaging my lips with it. She was doing it slowly, but with a lot of pressure, so every time her shoe moved from my upper lip to my bottom lip, it opened my mouth and the bottom of her shoe slid on my teeth, and the same thing happened as she moved it from my bottom lip. to my upper lip. I was in no position of moving my head because of the weight of her shoe on my mouth. She wasn't watching the movie anymore. She was just staring at my face. Under her shoe, her leg was bent quiet a bit because she was leaning forward a bit. She leaned forward a little more, still keeping her shoe on my mouth. But now her face was closer to mine. I could tell she was in an uncomfortable position because her leg was bent so much, but she didn't seem to care. She was just watching me very carefully. She whispered, slowly, "You, I can't believe I have my shoe on your mouth." I couldn't respond because my mouth was covered by her shoe. She whispered again, "I must have stepped on all kinds of filthy stuff today. I had these shoes on all day." As she mashed my lips under her shoe, I just stared at her face. She has a look of disgust and curiosity on her face. "How did they taste?" she asked as she put more pressure on my lower lip, pressed her shoe down hard and forcefully slid it upwards and opened my mouth with it. Now there was nothing between the sole of her shoe and my tongue. "Taste it," she asked me politely. I touched her shoe with my tongue and rubbed it against the bottom. "How do they taste?" she asked again. Without waiting for an answer from me, she leaned back saying, "Gross, I bet." She lifted her shoe from my mouth and turned my head back towards the screen with her sandal and continued rubbing my cheek with it for another few minutes and then pulled her leg off of me. I watched the rest of the movie quietly. The movie finally ended and everyone got up. She looked at me and said with a smile, "Thank you, and make sure you wash your mouth when you go home." I smiled back and left.